Welcome, leaders and innovators. Today we are diving into the engine room of enterprise AI, Microsoft Copilot Studio. While Microsoft 365 Copilot is fantastic out of the box, Copilot Studio is where you truly align AI with your unique business processes. Let's get started. Let's define our core subject. What is Microsoft Copilot Studio? It is a graphical, low-code platform designed to build intelligent agents and workflows. You can access it via the web or right inside Microsoft Teams. Why do we need it? While standard Microsoft 365 Copilot is incredible for general productivity, every business has unique, proprietary workflows. Studio is the bridge that connects AI to your specific business reality. How does it work? It allows you to declare instructions, plug in your enterprise data, and attach action tools without writing heavy code. For our deep dive, consider the strategic framework: buy, extend, build. You buy Copilot for everyday document drafting. You use Copilot Studio to extend that experience into your CRM or ERP systems. Or, for completely unique, highly regulated processes, you build standalone custom agents. This tool gives you absolute enterprise control. Let's explore this decision tree to understand where Copilot Studio fits into your strategy. At the top, we identify a business need. We then evaluate its complexity and integration requirements. If the need involves standard tasks like summarizing meetings, we follow the left path to buy Microsoft 365 Copilot for immediate ROI. If we need to connect to our ERP or perform custom data lookups, we take the middle path to extend using Copilot Studio. Finally, if we have a proprietary system with highly specific compliance needs, we take the right path to build custom agents. Copilot Studio is the engine for the extend and build pathways, transforming generic AI into tailored enterprise solutions. Slide 2 brings us to the magic of natural language authoring. What is it? Copilot Studio leverages generative AI to actually help you build generative AI. You don't have to be a software engineer to use it. The basics are revolutionary. You simply describe what you want the agent to do in plain English. Why does this matter? It democratizes development, shifting power from IT directly to your subject matter experts. How do we do this? When you start a new project, you type a prompt like, build an agent to help users navigate HR policies. Instantly, the studio generates the agent's name, its behavioral instructions, and suggests relevant knowledge sources. For the deep dive, consider the iteration process. If your agent is missing a step, you don't have to manually wire up a new dialogue tree. You open the Copilot pane and type, add a question to ask the user for their date of birth. The AI automatically creates the question node, configures the data extraction, and binds it to a variable. It is incredibly fast. Look at this streamlined authoring pipeline. On the left, we start with your natural language intent, just a simple sentence describing your goal. This flows directly into the Copilot Studio AI engine. Notice how the AI instantly branches out to do the heavy lifting. It generates instructions, creates topics and nodes, and suggests knowledge sources. All of these automated processes converge on the right to produce a ready-to-test agent. This visual proves that the barrier to entry for building enterprise AI is lower than ever. Your experts provide the intent, and Copilot Studio translates that into functional architecture. A brilliant agent is useless if it hallucinates. That brings us to grounding and generative answers. What is this? It is the implementation of retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, to anchor the AI to your trusted enterprise data. The basics involve pointing your agent to specific SharePoint sites, Dataverse tables, or public websites. Why is this a core capability? Because without it, the model relies on public internet data, leading to fabrications. Grounding forces the AI to base its answers strictly on your corporate truth. How is it built? You simply add a generative answers node and paste in your data sources. When a user asks a question, the agent searches those sources, synthesizes the text, and generates a response. Now for a critical deep dive on security, grounding is governed by identity-based authentication. When an employee queries the agent searches SharePoint using that specific employee's credentials. If they lack permission to view a confidential HR file, the agent cannot retrieve it. It is completely secure by design. Let's trace the secure data flow of a generative answer. The user asks a business question. The agent intercepts this and reaches out to your SharePoint or Dataverse environment. Crucially, it searches based on user identity, ensuring strict access control. The database returns only the permitted documents. The agent then packages the original prompt alongside these trusted documents and sends them to the large language model. The LLM acts as a reasoning engine over your data, synthesizing a grounded answer. Finally, the agent returns the response to the user, complete with clickable citations. This sequence diagram is your proof that Copilot Studio maintains absolute data integrity. Answering questions is great, but taking action is where exponential ROI lives. Let's discuss tools and agent flows. What are they? They are the mechanisms that equip your agent to interact with external systems. The basics involve attaching Power Automate flows, REST APIs, or pre-built connectors as tools for the agent. Why do we do this? To transform a passive chatbot into an active digital worker. Imagine an agent that doesn't just explain the refund policy, but actually processes the refund in your ERP system. How do you build this? You add an agent flow as a tool, clearly defining the required inputs and outputs. For example, a flow to check order status needs an order ID input. Here is the deep dive magic. You don't have to manually build dialogue trees to ask the customer for their order ID. Copilot Studio's generative orchestrator reads the tool's requirements. If the user didn't provide the ID initially, the AI automatically generates a conversational question to ask for it before running the tool. This flowchart illustrates the autonomous intelligence of tool invocation. The user requests, "Update my address." The agent analyzes the intent and identifies that it needs to use the Update Profile tool. Next, it hits a logical gate, "Are inputs complete?" If the user didn't provide their zip code, the flow routes left, and the agent autonomously asks, "What is your new zip code?" It loops back until all requirements are met. Once the inputs are yes, it securely triggers the Power Automate flow, updates the CRM database, and confirms success with the user. This removes the need for rigid, hard-coded conversation paths. To manage all these capabilities seamlessly, Copilot Studio utilizes generative orchestration. What is it? It is the AI brain that automatically decides how to handle a user's request, whether it should trigger a specific topic, execute a tool, or search a knowledge base. The basics: we are moving away from the rigid, hard-coded dialogue trees of older chatbots. Why? Because humans do not speak in decision trees. They change topics, ask follow-up questions, and jump around. Generative orchestration handles this unpredictable nature gracefully. How? By relying on the descriptions you provide. If you name a tool, check inventory, and give it a good description, the AI knows exactly when to trigger it based on the user's natural language. Our deep dive concept here is hybrid control. You aren't forced to give the AI total freedom. You can build strict, deterministic topics for high-risk compliance workflows and allow generative orchestration to handle general Q&A and tool routing. It is the perfect blend of flexibility and control. Look at the purple node at the center of this diagram, the generative orchestrator. When a complex user query comes in, the orchestrator acts as an intelligent traffic cop. It dynamically evaluates the request. If the intent matches a strict business rule, it routes to a deterministic topic. If it requires an action, it routes to trigger tool. If it's a general question, it routes to search knowledge base. All of these pathways converge to produce a synthesized contextual output. This visual is crucial because it demonstrates that you don't have to map out every possible conversation manually. The AI orchestrator does the routing for you in real time. Let's push the boundaries with Slide 6, Advanced Capabilities, specifically Code Interpreter and Voice. What is Code Interpreter? It allows your agent to write and execute Python code in a secure sandbox to analyze complex data. The basics: a user can upload an Excel file, ask the agent to find trends, and the agent will literally write Python code to analyze the rows and output a base 64 encoded chart image. Why is this powerful? Because LLMs are bad at math, but Python is perfect for it. How do you do it? Simply toggle Code Interpreter in the generative AI settings. Let's also talk voice. Copilot Studio integrates with Dynamics 365 to deploy your agents over actual phone lines. How? You use speech synthesis markup language SSML to control the pitch, pauses, and emphasis of the AI's voice. The deep dive: for enterprise deployments, voice agents can use constrained speech grammars. When asking for a credit card number, the AI shifts from generative listening to a constrained mode, ensuring absolute precision when extracting critical numeric entities over a phone call. This flow highlights the incredible power of the Code Interpreter tool. A user uploads an Excel file containing thousands of rows of sales data. The Copilot Studio agent recognizes the analytical intent and routes the data to the Code Interpreter. Inside this secure sandbox, the system generates and runs Python code specifically written to answer the user's question. The results split into two streams. It outputs a base 64 chart for visual representation and outputs a JSON summary for structured data. Finally, the agent combines these outputs into a rich adaptive card in chat. You have effectively turned a conversational bot into a rapid data scientist. Innovation requires guardrails. Slide 7 covers security, governance, and publishing. What are we discussing? The enterprise frameworks that ensure your custom agents are compliant and safe. The basics involve integrating Copilot Studio with your broader Power Platform governance, meaning you utilize application lifecycle management, data loss prevention policies, and environment routing. Why is this mandatory? To prevent data leakage, control token consumption, and protect your brand's reputation. How is it managed? Admins use the Power Platform Admin Center to restrict which connectors the agent can use. Makers thoroughly vet the agent using the real-time testing pane within the studio before hitting publish. The deep dive here is continuous improvement through analytics. Once published, Copilot Studio provides a comprehensive dashboard tracking the generated answer rate and logging unanswered queries. By analyzing these specific metrics, your team can identify exactly which knowledge gaps exist and upload targeted documents to solve them, ensuring the agent gets smarter over time. Let's trace the governance lifecycle. We begin at agent authoring. The maker immediately moves to the real-time testing pane to validate behavior. Before deployment, the system performs a governance check, ensuring all connections comply with your organization's DLP and Entra ID policies. Upon approval, the agent is published to Teams or the web. But the cycle doesn't end there. Post-deployment, interactions flow into the analytics dashboard. Here, administrators monitor performance and identify knowledge gaps, routing that intelligence right back to the authoring phase. This closed-loop system guarantees that your AI deployments are both secure and continuously evolving to meet user needs. Let's synthesize all of these capabilities into a highly practical, real-world use case, building an autonomous IT help desk agent. What are we building? A Copilot Studio agent designed to instantly resolve employee technical issues. The basics: instead of uploading static PDFs, we connect this agent directly to your live ServiceNow instance. Why? This provides 24/7 self-service, radically reducing your Tier 1 IT support costs and wait times. How does it work? When a user says, "My laptop won't connect to VPN," the generative orchestrator searches the ServiceNow knowledge base and provides a grounded, step-by-step fix. If the issue persists, the orchestrator seamlessly transitions to an action tool, gathering the issue description and triggering a flow to create a live ServiceNow ticket on the user's behalf. The deep dive here highlights identity security. Because the agent uses Entra ID authentication, it knows exactly who is asking. It can securely retrieve and display active tickets belonging only to that specific user. This is the ultimate promise of Copilot Studio: secure, integrated, intelligent automation. Let's walk through this final sequence diagram to see our IT help desk agent in action. The employee asks, "How do I fix my VPN?" The Copilot Studio agent immediately uses its generative answers capability to search the ServiceNow knowledge base. ServiceNow returns the relevant article, and the agent explains the fix in plain language. When the employee replies that it didn't work, the agent's generative orchestrator recognizes that a new approach is needed. It dynamically pivots, triggering the Create Ticket Action API in ServiceNow. ServiceNow generates the ticket and returns the ID number. The agent relays this confirmation back to the employee. Within moments, the user was assisted, the knowledge base was leveraged, and an escalation protocol was securely executed, all without human IT intervention. Thank you for joining this deep dive into Microsoft Copilot Studio.